Welcome to Podcast 911. This is a new type of show where you send me your podcast, and I not only review it, but I'm going to take it apart and tell you where some of your direction might be lacking. Keep in mind, none of this is meant to insult, nor is it intended to be mean. However, I'm not going to wear kid gloves for this. This is meant to be feedback intended for podcasts that want to monetize and need help getting to the point. This isn't for the podcasts that are just out here to have fun. So then, let's get right to it with our first. This is the Geek Gauntlet podcast. Now, what I ask for is the first 10 minutes of audio, though they sent me video this time around. My feedback will be based on what a listening audience will be listening for, and it's also based on how a first-time listener is going to react to your content based on the episode and them clicking and what they're getting out of it. So, let's jump in. As my fans ramp up. Whoa! Okay, that was an intro.
Oh, yes. Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to another edition of the Geek Gauntlet podcast. I'm your host, Mr. William D. Morgan, for this evening. Got a lot to talk about, but tonight we are talking about I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman. Yeah, we're talking about Batman tonight and all the Batman movies and everything we've seen across his social media presence. We're going to talk about all that tonight, plus a whole lot more. Let me go ahead and start bringing everything.
Okay, before we get into that, a bit of a mess to start. I like that you introduced the episode actually really quickly. Batman, awesome. I will say a 30-second animated intro does kind of push the boundaries these days. I'll let that slide, though. What followed after you introduced it, though, was a very popular way to stumble through words. We got a lot to talk about. Batman, all of his movies, and somehow presence across his social media. I think you misspoke there. And my favorite is a whole lot more. Now, you got to remember, if you're going to tease, which is a great way to start your podcast, you actually have to tease something of value. Just saying we've got a lot to talk about should be a given. You're doing a podcast. Do you have plans for a structured conversation about Batman somehow? Is there anything other than Batman you plan to talk about? If you aren't going to tease properly and give the listener a reason to keep listening with that tease, you really shouldn't bother. So let's get to the intros.
Everybody in. First off, she is the head of Feast of Fandoms, and she is also our TikTok and cosplay queen. Let me bring my girl, Kat Holler. And Kat, what's up?
How's it going tonight, Will?
What's going on? How you doing?
Doing good, doing good.
All
living
right,
the dream,
right.
you know, living that shapeshifter life.
Oh, facts. Facts. All right, let me go ahead.
Okay, I guess they're bringing someone else in. Let's stop it here. There's a few assumptions I'm making while I do this. The biggest assumption I make is that you want to make money with your podcast, or more money if you're already making a bit. Perhaps you want to make your podcast your full-time gig. Then, the most important factor in doing this, and you're going to want to write this down, though you will hear me reference it often, is stop giving people a reason to not listen. Idle chit-chat is at the top of that list when you're doing introductions. It's self-serving, and you're wasting people's time. Remember what I said about coming into this as a first-time listener. If you want a proper icebreaker as an introduction, ask quick and pointed questions that aren't, hey, how you doing? Try, I don't know, look at Kat. I can see several questions just looking at her. Now, one of my favorite tricks you can use when you're introducing hosts is to have a random question of the day waiting for each one. Just something to let them show off their personality and their charms rather than something simple and mindless as, how you doing? So let's get back to it.
And bring in our next person. Ando, what's going on with you, man? You can also find this gentleman with me every Monday on the Sports Report podcast over on Wider Network. Ando, what's up?
Two things. First off, you completely stole my introduction because I was going to go, I am vengeance. I am the night. My name's Ando. How are you all doing this evening? It's good to have you on board. Also, Kat.
Yes.
Hot damn. Like, holy hot damn. Like Burt Ward would rise up from the grave right now and go, "Holy
That's
poison
good.
ivy, Batman!" But
I mean, it's really more like
digress.
Mad Dog 2020 because I'm kind of short, so that's what I can reach on the shelf.
You know what? I do not have a problem helping you up. No problem.
Oh, okay.
What? Helping you up. I gotta behave though. We're just getting started and it's getting hot in here. Will, take it over, man.
And it's not Geek Gauntlet After Dark yet.
No, have
No.
you seen Cat? Dude, we're way past Geek After Dark.
Yeah, we are. We really,
We're
are.
geek.
No.
We're like Geek Gark NC-17 at this point, sir.
No, it's all covered. It's all covered.
Only if you don't
Strategically?
stand up. Only if you don't stand up.
No, it's
Or-
still all covered strategically. If I lean the wrong way, we're still good.
Oh, well, Bubbles wants you to lean the wrong way. So
Later.
just saying. Okay.
Later.
All right. All right.
All right, let me go ahead and bring in
Okay.
our next.
Ando, I love your energy. You had something to say as soon as your camera turned on, but most importantly, you had an immediate personality profile jump out of the audio. You addressed Kat. I loved that. That was very good. Holy crap, watch the stretched out conversation though. It just kept going and going. We're nearly 3 minutes in to the introductions and it's still happening. We need to be very, very careful with what we're doing here. So let's get back to it.
And bring in our next person first. I'm going to bring in my man. He's forgot more comic books than I would ever know. Bring my man Tyler in. Tyler, what's up? How you doing?
Oh, I'm just getting ready for it.
Oh my God.
Fun stuff.
He is trying to play it from Bring It On. Oh my gosh.
What? No, that's not what it's from.
What is that? What were you
It
playing?
sounds like way longer before that.
What were you playing?
You don't know that song?
No.
Really? It's not like from
Unfortunately,
YouTube Unlimited? Get ready?
Unfortunately, I don't know everything. No.
Well,
I'm bored.
no, that is much older than Bring It On.
Oh.
So are they.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and move on.
Okay, so they got more people to bring in. Take a look at Kat's face. Take a look at Ando's face. Take a look at William's face, though William hasn't looked up since we started. You have 3 very bored people and Tyler who brought nothing as soon as he came in. This is literally the epitome of empty chit-chat. There's absolutely nothing of substance. We're now at 3:35 and we've completely wasted everyone's time to this point outside of a little snippet from Ando. Okay, so we're going to go on, but I have a feeling he's got more people to introduce. I'm just going to watch. If there's anything of substance, I will stop down and we will start talking. So let's just play this on.
I'm doing good. Try to share and like and stuff. Hold on. No. Oh, damn it.
Last but certainly not
Last
least,
person.
he's my co-host. He gets
Co-host.
everything ready for this show each and every week. My man Shaw. Shaw, what's up?
Sup, everybody? How y'all doing?
Okay, we got 7 people. Damn, he said he was the last. Also said he was the co-host. Now, before we hear Shaw talk, a couple things. First is structure. We have a co-host, good to see. But I'm also curious to see how the 2 of them are going to fulfill those roles. Now, personalities is super important in shows, and you need to absorb that personality prior to starting the show. Now, this is something they call in broadcast dick, deer, and doe. All personalities generally fall under one of these 3 types. The dick is the jerk, the hard ass, the smart ass. The deer is the sweetheart, the pure, the general all-around counterpoint to the dick. And the doe is the dumbass, the clown, the butt of jokes. Now, generally, the dick and the deer are the main drivers of the show. Either can host, either can co-host. The doe, however, is never really the host. Now, you also have to mix in other subtypes. You have drivers and you have reactors. Drivers move content forward like a good host or co-host, and reactors tend to stall it out and flesh out the content. They tend to be the doe or sometimes the deer. Again, super important that everyone takes these roles and really lives the roles. I haven't watched enough to see who is who here, but we're 4.5 minutes in, I think. Yeah, 4:36 in, and Batman has taken a backseat in this episode so far. So let's get back at her. Goodness.
Hey, how y'all doing tonight?
Doing good.
Doing
We
good,
are
doing
rocking and
good.
rolling,
Doing
man.
good.
Good. Real quick, before we get started, this thing not work? There we go. Um, I do want to also say this episode is brought to you by Mayono
Okay.
Microphones.
Mono,
You're gonna
actually.
get the best clarity for all your social media, podcast, streaming, gaming, whatever it is. It can handle it. Need an XLR connection? You got it. Need a USB-C connection? You got it. And of course, if you need a wireless connection, you got that too. So don't forget, check out Mayono Microphones at mayono.com. All right.
Okay. Now what are we? We're 5:14 in. Mono is a sponsor. In case anyone's curious, I actually looked into it. These guys are part of a network. That's why they have a sponsorship. Before you start thinking they're making money on this, I bet they made pennies, like absolute pennies for that. So we're 5 minutes, 14 seconds in, and we have an ad read. That's fine. It's perfectly fine. However, I have to point out at this point, there is a rule. And that rule states you need to give a listener something to value before you give them an ad. And 5 minutes in, other than the names and a joke or two, there hasn't been any value here. Even your tease basically said, we got Batman and other things. A good tease can be that value that you're offering up. But as this episode stands, there's been nothing except for a bare minimum statement of what it's about. Now, I'm guessing there's a title to this episode and it has something to do with Batman, right? Remember, I asked that question because we're going to revisit that in a couple. So let's get back to it.
Shaw, I'm going to turn this over to you, my friend. What we got is I'll try to get this show shared out myself.
Okay, yes, sir. All right, so
Working during the
tonight
show.
we're going to try something a little different. We are going to rank every Batman movie from 1 to 10. We also got some stuff on the way, talking about Batman video games and stuff.
Stuff on the way.
All because of the Absolute Batman comic coming out.
Okay.
That is for Tyler to tell us about.
All right.
Tyler, take it away.
It would be great if I forgot, to unmute my mic. That's all.
Tyler, you need to unmute your mic.
This
sir.
is why we need to
I'm like,
see
so
you.
no, okay, I'll talk. Wait. So originally when we planned this all out, Absolute Batman number 16 was supposed to be coming out this
Okay, you know what? We're 6 minutes in. We have a direction, which is cool. But this is also like the second and third tease in 6 minutes. So, William and Shaw, you guys need to get your stuff together and actually have a list of what you're going to tease and read from it. You can share the duties, but stop saying and a bunch of other stuff. It's literally the lazy taking over. Please don't let it.
coming out this week, which was going to be the second part of the Wonder Woman and Batman crossover. However, because of earlier this month, the release of Absolute Batman Arkham M one-shot special, they did push it back a week. So it won't be actually this week. It will be next week that it's coming out. Damn you, DC, for messing up our schedule.
Unacceptable.
Right?
But isn't that
How
like
dare they? I'm going to call James Gunn right now. No,
But isn't that like DC's motive? They always push everything back, and then it's inferior to everything Marvel.
well, actually, here's the thing. I'm a Marvel whore. I am all day long. But DC is really, really slapping hard right now and making Marvel look like.
Okay, so Tyler's jumping in to give background, which is actually really good. But then the train just sails off the track. Now, at this point, we're almost 6:47 in, and Batman is still sitting off in the shadows. Hosts, co-host, this is your job to get this stuff running and on track. These side tangents are only fun for you. I hate to tell you that. It's literal death for viewers or listeners. So let me touch on what I said earlier. Stop giving people a reason to not listen. And for a new listener like me who just clicked on your show because you're talking about Batman, and then I'm sitting through 7 minutes of this, it's actually disrespectful of the listener's time. Most people in my position would have already left, and I bet you your stats say that. See, you broke the inherent trust of the promise of your content. When you do that, people don't come back ever. Have you ever watched a trailer for a movie and get super hyped about the movie, show up to the theater and realize it's nothing like it was advertised to be? This is exactly what you're doing here. Your episode promises Batman and you don't deliver. It's a cardinal sin. Also, speaking of the roles of hosts, William, did you fall asleep here, brother? If you're the host, you should be hosting and fully engaged with the content. So let's get into this.
Really, really slapping hard right now and making Marvel look like little bitches. So I'm just saying, DC's doing strong. DC's going hard. So they know what they're doing right now, and they, I don't know. They got to hand it to them. Got to give credit what credit's due, right?
Facts.
Yes, I agree.
But yes, so tonight, obviously, we're just gonna have some fun, talk about the Batman movies, and just get all Batman-y, right? Who doesn't like Batman? With the success of Absolute Batman this past year, which is the new comic book line from DC Comics, with the Absolute Universe, which is a universe created by Darkseid.
Okay, so Tyler offering up the latest tease, almost 7.5 minutes in. Now, I'm not saying this isn't good info, but this should have been also info from the first 30 seconds. Now you're just keeping me from the conversation I want to hear, and also just super broken up, super unstructured. Hey, we're just going to be talking about Batman. That's not a podcast episode. What about What about his movies? You're going to be ranking them? Cool. Okay, so it has to be a little bit more than that. You have to get a little bit of information. So let's go.
The universe is supposed to be a little more darker, a little more evil, and a place where not always the heroes win. So this is the new, very, very popular comic, so much so that I was able to sell my Absolute Batman #1 for about $100 just a few weeks ago. So it is very, very popular. So in that spirit, let's get on some Batman stuff.
All right. The first movie we're going to talk about tonight will be, let me just look at my thing. All right. The Adam West Batman movie. Picture number 1, please. And Ando, take that away.
So it's Ando's job.
No, look, I don't think that's the original Batman.
No, that's
Absolute
Absolute.
Batman.
Hey!
There we go.
go.
I think that's the Batman
Yeah,
that everybody
I had
remembers
this-
growing
I-
up.
D.
It came
Wilkers
up-
Batman.
It came
Yep,
up picture
see-
number 2 for me.
Yep. So let's talk about this, right? I mean,
Yes.
I think everybody on the panel is old enough to remember when you went to Grandma's house. Grandma would make you a big bowl of cereal, and she'd turn on TV Land, and you'd get excited because the narrator would come up. You're sitting there. What are they going to talk about today? What kind of shenanigans is Batman going to get into? And then that classic, and that's where everybody's favorite pow, pop, bang comes in. Everybody freaking loves it. Look, I vividly remember the movie. I remember the TV shows, or I remember the TV episodes a lot more than than the movies. But I think everybody can say that the best part of the movie is when Batman has his leg stuck in the shark's mouth, hanging from the bat ladder, and he's, Robin, bring me down the bat shark repellent spray. Look, it's campy, it's dumb. People would say it's stupid in this day and age, but that was comedy back in the day, right? Batman was never going to be gritty. You weren't going to see that. You weren't going to see that on television networks at that time. I think they worked out really well. I think the movie was built. You included all of the major villains, the Riddler, Catwoman, the Joker, the Penguin. You had
Okay, so we got to 8 minutes in and we finally got the show going in the right direction. We're at 9.5 out of 10 minutes. I got to say, even though it got going and moving in the right direction, I love the energy, but it came off as a rambling mess. So again, we're at 9.5 minutes. Let's actually call this one and let's just reel it all in and see if we can give this podcast the way forward. Before we do that, though, if you want your podcast reviewed and screened like this for feedback, I will have my email in the description. I need only 10 minutes from the beginning of the episode, super important, to the 10-minute mark. Send it to me. We can see if we can get it done. Now would be a great time to do it, though, because I don't have a lot lined up. But if it gets busier, I may have to start to pick and choose. So if you really want to get in on it, let me know. Back to the advice. So we're going to stay on the theme. I actually like the concept of this show that we finally heard about 10 minutes in, but structure is completely missing. You're just going over the best Batmans. Is it a list? Is it in any particular order? Is there any reason for any of this? Or is it just here to take the OG Batman and go? I would love to hear about the criterion for each one. I mean, Adam West Batman is iconic for a multitude of reasons, and only one of them is the nostalgia of watching it. Let's break it down. How Adam West's portrayal has impacted almost every Batman property going forward. Break down the Bat gadgets of the time and how they've changed or updated, but they created the concept of Batman on your screen. Or even as Ando touched on, how the theme actually became synonymous with all Batman properties for longer than a generation. Simply giving just a touch of structure and prep to this segment would have made it tight and actually awesome to listen to. Doing a podcast off the cuff doesn't work. You need to prep, and prep is work. Anyways, all other feedback is going to be pretty general at this point. One, that is a lot of people sitting in on a podcast to barely talk for 10 minutes. I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's impossible to do, but your difficulty rating goes up to 10 when you have that many people. The host just ends up having to rein in more people even harder. And if you're on a video podcast, guys, your video has to be on. This is non-negotiable. Now, if that's an issue, I see you're using a service like StreamYard or something similar. Well, if that's the case, take people off that aren't actively in the conversation. But probably the best thing for you to work on before anything else is tightening everything up by using structure. The first 10 minutes that I just watched should have been around 30 seconds to a minute max. Now again, this takes structure, and structure takes prep. If any one of those people showed up without notes and what they were going to say, they're weighing you down like an anchor. Get them moving and get them working. Everybody that shows up to a podcast needs to do work. And from what I saw, I didn't see many people with notes. Maybe Ando. I'm going to leave it there though. Tighten it up, and perhaps we'll check in on you in a couple months and see where you're at. Anyways, for everyone else, thank you for watching. If you like this, let me know about it. Cheers, guys, and I'll see you in the next one, and hopefully I won't be sick as a dog.